Hey fire signs, welcome to your October reading. That's right, you heard me right, fire signs. I'm doing it a little bit differently just to make it a little bit easier for myself for this month. I am moving, so we're kind of getting this in, shuffling it in to the right space. Now I'm starting with Aries and then we'll go Leo and then Sagittarius. I will write down the times for you to skip to your sign if you need me in the thingy below. I've got my pen here to write it down. I'm all prepared, you see. So stay on, watch your sign, and feel free to check out the other videos for earth, water and air for your sun, moon and rising. Okay guys, so we're starting off with Aries. I have already shuffled because I began and then my vacuum got stuck. I have my robot vacuum. Multitasking, I tell you I'm on a mission at the moment. So we've reset. So I've already shuffled. So we start Aries with, it's time to leave an unhealthy situation. Now, I'm not surprised to see this card in this position. So this first position's like, this is where we want you to start. We want you to jump right into this. It's time for you to let go. Now, Aries, for quite some time, all of your readings, at least every so often from the last year, has kept popping up saying it's time for you to let go of those ways of thinking, the old ways of being. They don't serve you now and they're hindering your progress. So if you feel as though, one, you're either stuck, two, things don't keep going the right way, like there's little hiccups along the way, that is natural with the astrology at the moment anyway. But if you feel like it's really is keeping you in the same spot, you're not progressing in the way that you're desiring or the way that you thought things might at this spot at this time, or whether you're just noticing now that, hey, yeah, actually no, a whole lot's changed in this time, that's because you're stagnant right now, because you're not letting go of something. Now I would say for me it really channels through as the core values, your core belief system. It's all been shaken up over this last year or two, potentially three. So with that happening, that makes us really start to shift into the new person. But it also can make us go, whoa, what's happening? Chaos. And Aries, I mean, you're a natural sign that can thrive in chaos. However, I feel as though you've been more, for some of you at least, not all of you, but a little bit more like it's halted you in the same space because maybe it's so drastic. Maybe you believed one thing and you'd come to a conclusion that I believe that, and now you're like living a different life that is not in alignment with that value because you've grown, you've changed, and we're supposed to grow and change with our beliefs anyway, because as we mature, we become more knowledgeable, we're more experienced in life, we experience new things, and we realize that the old way of thinking was very limiting. And that's a really great thing to do. But sometimes it can be so much so where we don't know what to do with that energy. And it's because you're holding on to, again, what you thought you knew, what you thought believed. And perhaps it protects you to a degree. It stops you from feeling like you're judged by others. It stops you from feeling as though you have to explore a whole new, different area. And that can be scary. I mean, Aries, you are an adventurer by heart, but it's still scary for some of us, right? Now, also this could be saying, so if you are in an unhealthy situation right now, that's a danger to you or toxic to you in any way, abusive relationships, marriages, anything where it's like, I need to get out of this, and you know it, deep in your heart, you know that you need to leave. This is saying now is the time. Don't be waiting for the right moment. I always say to anybody when I'm giving guidance that there's never a right moment for anything. So when we're waiting for the right opportunity, it's not going to come because you create those opportunities. Once you start thinking about something, for example, leaving a relationship, that's there. It's not leaving. It's not going to get better or improve. And it doesn't. I mean, temporarily it could. But it's like these seeds are already our intuition telling us that, you know, hey, these red flags are becoming apparent. Let's pay attention to them. And then we talk ourselves out of it because we hear of loyalty, we hear of faithfulness, and we don't take them on as really the core value of what those words mean. It's being really, we need to be faithful and loyal to ourselves first. And when you're in a situation that is unhealthy to yourself because you're being taken for granted, the person that you chose was not somebody who respects you, why should you have to be faithful and loyal to somebody because you made a vow for that? Because whatever the situation of your life at that time different from the situation you're in now. And we are becoming so much more evolved and aware that we don't have to settle for unhealthy situations until one person gets into such a toxic situation that they end their life. And that toxic person gets to go and do that to somebody else because they faithfully stayed in a marriage with somebody and did the right thing by their God and things like that. We realize that that's like really not a way that humanity should be living. Why should we be trapping people in situations, and that no divine being would want that, right? And I feel like some of you are going through that level of belief change, which is massive, but it has a ripple effect on how people may judge you. And you need to realize that people will judge you for staying, people will judge you for going, people will judge you for merely existing on how you exist, because those people are not happy in themselves, they are not content, and they don't believe in what they're saying when they're judging either. But it's some people don't allow themselves to believe in anything. They just choose to follow. They choose to listen and when you have a stream of education, a stream of anything that is pointing you in one direction, really you're going to believe it because you don't know any better. You've not evolved in any way that knows more than what you have experienced. So sometimes people that are judging are people with very limited belief and life experience. So in some ways we need to have compassion for those people, but we can't allow them to run how we rule our lives. We need to be taken care of, number one, and the astrology is about changing things up, making things a better place. And by being true to you, by being authentic, you are shaking things up in such a way that is going to change the values of the masses. Because when you start living authentically, accepting, loving from the heart, that ripples down again to our children. They're experiencing things earlier than we did. We perhaps didn't get that acceptance as a child or around the adults that we were around as children. So that can create limiting beliefs in adults that they have to break. That's the generational break in those cycles, right? But once we've broken that and we're teaching our children that it's okay and to love themselves and to be able to be creative and expressing and not have to just wear a uniform for the rest of their life. This is breaking cycles that creates a better world. And this is exactly what I feel here. For you Aries, it's time to leave an unhelpful situation that's made your world unhealthy to you. And your world could literally be yourself, or it could be that, again, you are participating in a way in your life that, again, is toxic to you and your growth, and that's why you are maybe stagnant during this time. But this card is saying now is the right time. So again, this could literally be merely dropping bad eating habits because you're in an unhealthy relationship or unhealthy situation with your body. It's saying now is the time to begin exercising, taking walks, eating better, being a bit proactive with your food. Time is now, not next month when you feel like you might be prepared for this. Again, Christmas is coming, so there's never a right time. There's never a right time. You're going to come up to festivals, you're going to come up to birthdays, and you're going to feel a little bit down, and you're going to feel a little bit hormonal. All these things are going to make you want to be unhealthy, and it's okay too. I believe in a balance. I'm never going to be somebody who is 100% on anything, because I am kind of a little bit of all sorts. Right? But again, so now is the time. Don't be putting it off for future. Focus on being better every single day and you'll get to where you want to be. It's all about balance. Lean on God and the angels for support. So this card generally is saying that you have a spirit team guiding you and pushing you. It's saying lean on your faith. This does not mean religion, because I don't believe in religion anyway. Religion is man-made. Faith is something we all have, and the religion that we choose to go to is what resonates with our soul. Again, during that time, because not everybody is one soul religion their whole entire life, and that is perfectly okay. We don't judge anybody here. But what this card does mean, it does not mean religion. It just means God and your angels for support. This is your spirit team. This is your soul team. We all have a spirit team, even if you don't believe in it. That is for you to choose and trust in your heart that is the correct truth that you need to believe. But it's saying that you have the support. Now, I also believe that these cards is saying that there are many support systems around you. So our angels are everyday people sometimes. Sometimes they are literally somebody who says the right thing at the right time. For For example, there are little angels, like you're having a bad day, perhaps you're near the end of your life. That happens, you're having that bad of a time in your life that things are really down, and then one person says something that makes sense, and it changes the way you think, and then life gets better from there. Sometimes we don't even notice that happens. It's just something that naturally flows, and sometimes we do notice, and we're appreciative of that angel. But what I want to say is that you are surrounded by support, and I feel like with this card here saying, with all those core values, again, if it's so much so that you feel your whole support system would crumble by you going on to the roots of your values that you truly believe. Because again, I do get this sense of it being against the system of your support, whether it be cultural or religious or any kind of societal judgment on you as, and I feel like it's self-imposed. These are things that you think and not actually what is. But what I'm saying is, like, even if it is to the point where, yes, you might be quite correct, there are support systems that will fully support you. That's really your actual real family. Remember that not everybody we're born into is meant to stay family for life. They are a birth family. But again, some people don't get to keep the right of having you in their life. And it's sad, it's hard, but it doesn't mean that they were meant to be there either for their whole entire life. And a lot of people do hold themselves back because we have that ingrained into us that we should value where we came from more than we should who we are today. Admit the truth. These two cards were in reverse and they were together. Now, in reverse means pay more attention. Admit the truth and to yourself and act accordingly, which means you know exactly what you should be doing, or at least you know what I'm talking about, like the area where this might be for you, and have confidence. It's saying admit it. You may be in denial and be thinking like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about, but I feel like you do anyway. And this is saying, hey, you do. Look, just admit the truth and act accordingly. If you want to be able to move forward, if you want growth, if you want whatever it is that that's in your heart, have confidence is you're on the right path card as well. It's saying move forward, release any stresses and worries, because what's meant for you is ahead of you. In this admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly, I get that. I did test the lighting before I came on, but it's unpredictable because it's a bit cloudy today. There is a little, what is that? It kind of looks like a hummingbird and a kookaburra kind of mixed into one. I don't know my birds, but it kind of looks really cute. That is catching my eye. I feel like you have something really dear to you, quite close to you right now, and you need to let it fly, in terms of you need to let it out into the world and kind of follow your instincts with this one. You are protected in this, and you do have support all around you. And I do think actually the people that you want to keep in your life, so if you are worried that you might lose people, they're going to be by your side the whole time. Will it all be rainbow and roses straight away? No, things have processes that they go through first, and you've got to realize that people's first initial reaction to anything is not necessarily their general truth and their general reaction. They just don't know how to process it in that instance, and the defense mechanism works the most. It comes clear. Now here I had a card drop which was below, but I felt it was for this one too, so I'm kind of going to come back to them all. But it was the romance angels are helping you. So you have a lot of love supporting you, and you have your angel team. This is also saying that love wins. So if this is in regards to relationships, or even perhaps who you love, maybe you'll feel like you won't be accepted if you admit that you love the same sex that you are, or that you like somebody from a different area. There's a lot of cultural beliefs, a lot of stigma and social norms on what people don't like. Sometimes there's people don't like races mixing, which is just disgusting to even actually that it even existed in the first place. But it does, right? And that can leave us really worrying about what this will mean by being open with who we love. This is saying that you're supported in this. And again, that this relationship's meant for you, I would say, in terms of all the way that this is flowing. It's like trust in yourself. And just as I said that, I come over here. It's honor and trust your feelings. With this is paired with God is in charge as well. So it's like everything is meant to be happening for a reason. This is growth that you're meant to be learning right now. And she is holding kind of like, the light's rubbish. She's holding like a geometry kind of star thing to her chest, and it's kind of like, this is really important to you, this is really important to your life. Honor and trust your feelings. It's like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this person? How does it make you feel when you allow yourself to actually go there? And I do get this sense with that above it card, which is it's time to live unhealthy. For a while I feel like you deflect and try not to focus on what is important, and you shift your focus to something else that's equally important. But this to me feels like if you actually should be focusing on where the heart feels and what the heart wants, because this is part of your life path. This is part of shaping who you're meant to be, who you're supposed to be, and who you actually are. And I say that because really in the generations that we've had, we really have shaped people. Society has shaped people that the way that they want them to be perceived. So much so that we have a lot of confusion in the world today. And this astrology is about breaking that down so that we start being about love and we start being about compassion more so, instead of being about literal goals and I'm trying to find the right words of what I'm thinking. It's like being quite selfish in our endeavors. This is about being selflessly. It's like by being yourself, you are healthy. You are putting out into the world something that is so authentic that it ripples. And this is what I'm feeling like. This is part of the purpose, is to really break yourself down. And it sounds horrible, and it may be for some of you, it might be quite challenging to do, to get you into a space where you have the family that you're supposed to have. And as soon as I looked at this God is in charge, she's holding her baby. This doesn't necessarily represent babies and children, though it can, but it's like, in order for you to get the family that you've always wanted, so the love, because you've got to think long term. Like, for example, if you are with someone but you're putting big walls between the two of you, it's preventing you really from having that closeness that maybe you're wanting, maybe to grow old with somebody, maybe to have children, maybe to be able to move to the next step of relationship that you never have allowed to take yet. This is saying, I'm leading you towards that because I know that you want that, but you have to put in the work to make it happen. So this is like, honor and trust your feelings. I'm putting it all out there for you. I'm giving you what you want, but you have to also do the rest. It is saying you're on the right path, and this is sort of as well, these cards like God is in charge. It's like it's meant to be. There's not an end result. With it's meant to be, you can choose. There's always a choice, but it's like you're given it's like when someone gives you the tools to create something that you've desired. So say you want to make a bed. The God is in charge is going, here's all of the things you need to make the bed, even the instructions on how to do it, because that's how much this is meant to be. There, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Here's some tutorials, some videos here, show you how to make it. But you have to watch them. You have to learn how to use them tools. You have to put the bed together yourself. You have to put in that work. If you decide halfway through that I wanted this bed and I really do, but I can't be bothered to actually finish making it because there's a bed over there that's done that everyone says is all right and I can live with all right, then it's like, okay, sure, okay, well, I gave you the bed and you really wanted to make it. You wanted that. It's solid. It's everything you ever desired, and once you completed it, you'd be so happy. But if you choose to go a different route, you'll still be happy. Yeah, maybe you can find your happiness, or it will change, but right now, I've given you exactly what you need, and what you do with it is your choice. And I just get the need to say that to you, Aries, that really you make your choices. Your children are watched over by angels. So this card, if you have children, generally means that your family is safe. So this can be family as well, not necessarily children. Family, friends, whoever you might be concerned about. It's saying that you can let go of any concerns because, again, they're going through what they need to go through in their growth process, but also that they are guided and protected during this time. This also means the inner child in yourself, that you are protected through this. Specifically in terms of spiritual growth, this card represents kind of really protecting and making sure that you are okay going through what you're going through. I would say that resonates a lot with this next card that is paired with it, which is innocence. Now this card is saying, like, understand that you are this innocent little being. We all are. And understanding that every single person comes from an innocent space. Even the ones that make the biggest life choices in the world, that makes them be a mean, horrific person. They still have this innocence in them. It's not about allowing that behavior, staying with them. So when you're up here, I've told you to leave this toxic situation, I'm telling you, and this is not down here trying to justify that with their behavior. It's not okay. So even though somebody has an innocence and has love, the ability to love, does not mean that they're going to express that to you, does not mean that they're supposed to be sympathized by you. It's just realizing that we need to nurture this inner child ourselves and understand that we're doing the best that we can, and perhaps they are doing the best that they can, but that best does not, if that's the best that they can do, that is not good enough for you. Just want you to just drilling that in there. But this gives self more so than anything else. It's about nurturing yourself through these phases. So being kind to yourself and understand the vulnerability that comes with you and the things that you go through. This was paired with the romance angels and helping you. So everything that I've said in regards to relationships really does resonate with it being, hey, you are supported and loved so much here, and that you have all that you need within that support. So understand, even when you are feeling alone, innocent, vulnerable, you do have a strength. Whether it being in a partner, it's like it's like you've chosen someone who's strong enough to carry you through that, which we all need that in a partner. Because, for example, in my marriage, I was a big supporter through death, through having my children and being the supportive partner in that, and through jobs, basically doing a lot of induction. I did a lot of support. Now, I do feel personally that I didn't get a lot of support back. Yes, he did provide for our family, but it just felt as though in terms of individuals and partnerships, for me, I felt I didn't have that. And this is why I'm saying this here, feels as though you've chosen someone strong enough to, again, hold you when you're down, and it's like a balance. I feel like they want that in you, but during this time, they're strong enough to be that person for you. And to allow that, I think, as well with this, because the angel is literally copying this little puppy here as well. So I kind of feel like you have to allow somebody to be the strength. And that might be hard for you, Aries, as well, because I get the sense that a lot of your restrictions is because, again, you rely on yourself so much and being very independent that it is hard for you to allow someone else to maybe be more of a bigger support, or even trusting that anybody else beyond yourself can. So that's something to realize, that it will help you to do that. You and your loved ones are safe. This is directly under the children one as well. So again, in terms of family and worries in that regard, everything's safe, everything's good here. And it's like, again, reassurance to stop worrying so much about, and I think as well in terms of health, maybe there's a lot of worries in terms of whether you, like, I'm going to use weight gain as something over here. You're worrying so much that, it's getting unhealthy. You just can't stop eating and all this kind of whatever it is for you, or even under. It could be the opposite as well. It's just an example I'm using. Stress is the biggest hindrance of any weight loss or weight gain, depending on which side of the scale you are. For me, majorly, I noticed that, like, I can do really, really well. As soon as stress hits, I do eat more and I need my comforts, but I also hold on to weight and gain it, because to me, my whole body feels stress. And it's in my neck and I go all stiff, and I do feel like the weight just comes back on so much easier because I'm going through so much stress. So realizing, just let go of all these worries in terms of health, I feel like will be really beneficial for you. That came through in regards to health. I do feel like you, again, are guarded and protected through health. So even if you are having health issues, I'm not a doctor and this won't apply to everyone. It's a general reading. So do not be all like, oh, I've got this and she says I'm going to be fine. I'm not a doctor, and this is, again, general reading. That little bit of guidance may not be applying to you. So I don't want you to go away and think you don't need to do X, Y, and Z. Because like I said over here, you have to put the work in with everything. Always. It's not always we're not living a passive life. But you are guided and protected during this time. It's saying release your stresses and worries. Again, in terms of any illness, I am a very firm believer that stress, anxiety, and worries can be something that really hinder our growth, our healing, our ability to heal. So yeah, keep that in mind, even though I understand that it is difficult. As somebody who does suffer from anxiety. Go forward fearlessly. Again, this card is saying you're on the right path. It's have confidence, and it is let go of worries. So anything that you're worrying about, it's saying let go of those worries. That generally could just be your guidance, as in what will help you is to release the worries. Spend more time outdoors. So it is about releasing that energy. Spending time outdoors is generally the card like saying nature will help you. Go on more walks outside. Sit out on the balcony. Have a glass of wine on the decking. Get out in the sun, get out under the moon. Nature has a way of at least setting our mind straight. And when the mind is straight, everything else is possible. So keep that in mind. The Go Forward Fearlessly card is a card of, again, you're on the right path. You're going in the right direction. Everything is going to be okay. And it's saying frigging go for it. And have no fears. Fears are literally things that we make up that get in the way. For example, I'm moving, and I'm so kind of anxious about this because I've never lived like alone in my own place and like moved myself. Like I've been living on my own with my kids for the last 2 years, but it's different because it's going to be literally my space. And well, it's not even, because I'm going to be renting to it. Like I have all these anxieties and stresses about it, that you create these little fears that don't exist, because until you're living through something, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to be. You can put little what ifs in the way, but these are things that are going to create worries for yourself that don't exist until you're going through it. You shouldn't really be worrying about it, right? But we do that naturally. And this is saying release all that, Aries. The situation is already resolved, so you literally have, this is all meant to happen to you. There's a solution at the end of this. I know over here when I said God is in charge, it's like put the work in. Definitely still there, but this is sort of saying that, again, it's what will be as well. So if something is meant for you, no matter which direction you go, it's going to get to you in the end, which with that way of thinking, I would say you can make this very difficult for yourself, or you can make it really easy. Allow yourself to flow into the energy really effortlessly, that you go in the direction you want to go, and stop fighting it, stop resisting it, stop putting what ifs in the way and preventing you from growth. I do get this sense of like, every time it comes to you and you know you might have to face something, you again will just pile a load of books on top of it and be like, we'll come back to that later. I don't have to deal with this right now. It's just something I might have to. And it's being brought to your awareness, and you're going, okay, so I know I definitely have to. And it's getting like really bugging me, like I'm going to have to face this. But you're not. All you're doing is facing a hardship now and again, and it's the same potential hardship, but you're not dealing with the hardship. It's not going to go away, and if it does go away, it's going to go away horribly, and you may get there again eventually, but it's not going to be what you wanted now. So I'm going to use a relationship for example. So yeah, maybe something comes up in terms of your relationship quite often, and you're just pushing it away and pushing it aside, and maybe giving reassurance, maybe growing a little bit each time. Eventually this relationship's going to end if it's not dealt with, because it keeps coming up. And when you're in a relationship and the same thing keeps coming up, that relationship's not working anymore, and one person is going to realize that and end it. And if that's exactly what you want, like you wanted that person, this is the relationship you want, this is what you want, or maybe it's the type of person you want, but again, for some reason something's keeping you blocked from that, you'll lose that. It's not saying that you won't ever have a relationship like that again, because you will, but it won't be with that person. So that's something you do have to really consciously take on, that this could potentially either come to an end or come to a finale, in the sense of you will get to that space you want to be at, and then you can both move forward past this stagnant energy. I really do get that relationship is a massive part of this for you, Aries, but this is not for everybody. Some people in here, it really just feels as though values and the love and relationship guidance that I'm giving is in terms of you and yourself. So when I'm saying that you may lose this, it's like perhaps you have this opportunity to be really true to yourself and live a certain way. If you don't pick up on that now, it might come around again in 10, 20 years where you get this opportunity again. But the opportunities that you could have had in those 10 and 20 years, I mean, just think that. Say you had an opportunity right now. I'm 34. If I have an opportunity right now, and then I don't get this opportunity again till I'm 54, like that's a large age difference. Like I could really have embraced opportunities during this time, in the 30s to 50s, right? But if I held back and missed it, if you hold back and miss it, you're going through that again when you are not too, 50 is not too old. What I'm saying is, like, the longer we have to really embrace something, we will appreciate that more in our own life. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, if you are older and going through this, I'm not taking from that. If anything, I'm saying you're in your 50s now. You could be 70 when you get this opportunity again. Are you going to feel like it's too late then? Are you going to mourn and grieve? And that's adding a whole different process to the hardships that you're going through too, because you're adding that grieving of the loss of time, which some of you could be going through, even if maybe you could have had this opportunity when you were 19 and you're now in your 30s. We all grieve that loss of time. We shouldn't, because that's holding on to something again. That's a whole different ball game that we're dealing with, of self-imposed beliefs and things that we're putting on ourselves, and I don't want that for you. I just want you to realize that seizing opportunities right now is in your best interest of all of us and everyone in our lives as well. Thank you so much, Aries, for being here. Now it's time for Leo. So let me have a look. So that's 29:50. I'll put just to give someone the time. Okay, let's collect these cards. So Leo, let's see. Woo! Okay. 3 cards just jumped out. Interesting. Loving it already. And that one. So Leo, we start with love for you as well. I've just finished Aries, so if you've just popped into this bit, you won't know. It starts with a reversed card. We have 3 cards in this position, and we start with eternal love. Now this is the card of soulmate energy. Now I do get this sense of it being as well like love within yourself. But again, this card can represent a soulmate. But I do feel as though there's self-love vibes here. And this is paired with, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy, and ask Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. So I'll go through this as one, but individually as well. Now, with this paired with your inner guidance is real and trustworthy, it's sort of saying that you need to trust in yourself, and self-love is very important. It's going to start raining. That may get loud. Trust your intuition during this time, especially in terms of what you need. Now, in terms of self-love, sometimes it's literally understanding what we need and what will help us during this time, right? So sometimes it's just getting more sleep, eating better, or saying no, right? It's doing the things that are right for us. The weather is doing some really weird stuff outside this window. It's just got bright. I'm so washed out. It's the bloody light. Be careful of listening to other people. It's definitely important to listen to yourself. And I think in terms of love as well, understanding your feelings and your wants and desires within relationships can be very important. If you are in a relationship, I do feel like it's important for you to be sticking to your values and ensuring that the relationship is true to you. It feels like a positive thing, not a bad thing. But I feel like as though if there's outside influences trying to influence your relationship, it's listening to you and your heart within your partnership. So the only people that are important in a partnership is you and your partner. If you've got children, then children as well, but they're just an extension of yourself anyway. But yeah, not external sources. Don't allow other people to influence. But as I say that with the extension of ourselves, I do think that you, something to do with making sure, again, it's your relationship's in alignment with you. And yeah, nobody outside of the couple for some reason. So hopefully that makes sense to you, because I'm not understanding that fully. Ask Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. Is saying lean on your faith. So maybe meditate on it or pray, whichever suits you in your belief system. It may help you get the answer. So listening to yourself. This is like saying that your spiritual team are there supporting you. So take some time to listen to what you want and listen to the guidance coming to you from yourself, like the internal and not the external. Now, for some people, literally talking to other people, for example, my archetype, when I talk and when I talk to people, I start understanding how I feel a little bit better because I'm able to vocalize it, and then I get my guidance from myself. That's like what my archetype does. Some people are like that, but the idea is that I'm not taking guidance externally. I'm just kind of channeling my own voice to realize what I'm actually thinking. So that may be something. I just felt like saying that in case that is your archetype too. Spend more time outdoors. There's a black cat on the screen. This situation is already resolved. Spend more time outdoors is generally, again, get outside. Nature has this way of, again, fixing the mind, just be able to relax you, going for a walk outside, sitting on the decking with a glass of wine, sitting under the moon, whatever it is that helps you feel just calm. This will help you to kind of, I'm going to say, detach from a situation. I feel like you might be in too deep, again, of listening to too much of others, Leo, and it kind of wants you to center. Being outdoors fixes the mind, and when the mind is healthy, the body follows. Keep that in mind too with any of your goals. This situation is already resolved. So these are together. It's kind of like, for me, these two cards together are saying, relax, take it easy, because everything's going to be okay. The situation is already resolved, which means I already have things in play the way that they're supposed to go. Things are okay. Everything will be fine. It's that kind of reassurance. Forgive yourself, you've done nothing wrong is next. Now this is saying, nurture yourself and be kind, and just you're doing the best that you can with the situations that you're in. Now if you have a lot of pressure externally, this is really saying that you need to understand that when we have a lot of hits on the outside, that really affects us on the inside and can really knock us back and keep us down. And this is saying to nurture and love yourself and understand again that you're doing the best you can. You've done nothing wrong. And even if you have done something that maybe like there's this feeling of guilt and that within yourself that maybe I could have done something different. Maybe if I hadn't have said this, or maybe if I wasn't there at that time. These thoughts and this way of thinking actually hinders our growth, and it actually makes us really make the wrong choices for ourselves, because we live in this space of I do everything wrong, I'm naughty, and negative self-doubt. You need to realize again that even if you did say you have done something wrong, forgive yourself, because you haven't done anything wrong. You've done something which was a reaction and the way that you were thinking and feeling. So understanding that you do the best that you can, and that's all that you can put out in the world. If you feel like it was not your best, then we start working on the self, right? We start doing that self-work. We start bringing the positives back, because that negative keeps us making mistakes, keeps us being guilty, keeps us in a really bad place that filters out in our life. We don't want to be there. Write about your thoughts and feelings. Definitely resonates with what I said up there about getting things out of your mind so that you can really assess how you're thinking and feeling. I do get this sense of, and we don't have the positive card here, but it's kind of like the positive words create positive results. It's that same thing. I feel like once you realize the way that your mind is going, the way that you're thinking, it all rounds out to be... Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say with that. It all works out basically to be like, I'm thinking this way. That's why I'm stuck in a slump, because of the way that I'm thinking and processing things. Then once you see that, you can work on that. I do feel like maybe writing down could be your way of doing it instead of speaking out and speaking to others. Could be writing your thoughts and feelings down. Maybe you like to keep a diary. No, I was going to say someone I knew used to do that, but they were not Leo. I was going to say Leo, but I don't think she was. And that can really help you, again, get your head straight and make you realize, again, what needs to change in your life. Whether it be simple as, I just need to start eating better, sleeping more, etc., etc. Maybe you feel like you're not being the best parent because you're so tired all the time. But then when the kids go to bed, guilty of this, you end up staying up all night because it's your time finally. So Oracle keeps walking past. Prayer will help you with this situation. So you have a lot of cards here which are all saying, have faith and listen to yourself. Go within, meditate, pray, whichever it suits yours. We don't judge in this space. We don't mind what you believe. It's your belief. It's nobody else's. However, just going within to your sorts of faith area, whether it being praying to a god or thinking your way to yourself, meditating, whatever it is that helps you, it's going to help you gain clarity by going within to your spiritual space. energy healing work, honor and trust your feelings, pay attention to your dreams. These 3 cards are together. They came out together. They literally say this, exactly what I just said. It's time for you to trust your spirit self. It's time for you to go within to seek your answers. Pay attention to your dreams is literally saying you're getting messages in your dreams. Now, I had literally 5 nightmares last night, not last night, night before, and I was just like, I don't have nightmares regularly, like maybe once every month, every few months or something, like I'd have like a random one, but I had literally 5, like every single time I went to sleep I had a nightmare, and they were quite like shaking me each time, like where I couldn't sleep for ages. It's like, what's going on? And I think that at the moment, even the last few months, this has been a cycle of like we're getting deep messages from our psyche, from our guardians, from our angels, that they have something to say. So pay attention to that. Honor and trust your feelings. So how do you feel in these dreams as well? I would say that, what's this saying about you? What's it saying about your life? What needs to change? Energy healing work. You're definitely under a lot of stress here, a lot of worries. There is not a card that says that your worries are not warranted, right? But they are saying forgive yourself, you're doing the best you can. So I would say it might be quite a stressful time for you, Leo, and that's okay. I feel you. There's a lot of chest, so heart center here. In all 3 of these cards. So trust in your heart, trusting how you're feeling. This is maybe also a key space of where you need to work on, is again working from a place of love and trust, and trusting in that. There is definitely growth for you spiritually coming through in all of this. We have a lot of crown chakra coming through in all of the cards as well that I'm now noting. A lot of white. So there's definitely spiritual growth here, which in some ways is the most hardest because it also filters into our normal life now through the astrology. So we're not just battling spiritual side, we're battling the spiritual side which is impacted in our everyday today life. So when we're not living authentically to our spiritual self, we're also not living authentically in our job, in our family, in our career, I said that, but in our relationships, in everything. It's filtering now where if something's unaligned, everything's unaligned, and I'm telling you, I'm not enjoying it. Take time making your decision. You're definitely not being rushed into anything. Your whole reading, Leo, is about really trusting yourself, but also listening to the self, taking care of yourself, and doing what you need to do to get into a healthy space. This card over here feels much more relaxed. This is the final card. It rounds up the whole reading. Feels as though this person has taken their time to do the work to, again, get themselves back on top. So this is for October. We're coming to the end of October. How are we feeling? We're taking our time making decisions, which means there's no rush to come to an answer. There's no rush to get to this end space. We are just doing what we need to do to feel better, to feel good, to feel like we're on track again. Don't rush into anything, but I do think do the work, but trust your guidance more so. This is definitely a lot more to do with internal work, but doing internal work is externally working. It's getting outside and sitting outside instead of sitting in our bedroom watching Netflix. It's going for a walk instead of sitting in our bed watching Netflix. It's buying healthier foods, creating healthy snacks, which might be a little bit sugary, but are healthier than our normal option. Grabbing that when we are feeling like that. It's anything like that. That was just one direction of me going to make these analogies for you of how to make improvements, which is you working, but also not having to stress yourself further. We're making nice little improvements into our lives so that by the time we get to the end, we're in this healthier space that feels more relaxed so that we can finally come to conclusions for ourselves. But you don't need to make any decisions right now. Lean on your support, trust in yourself, work on what the self wants. We started with love, which means all of this is surrounded by love and support. You're not alone, even if it feels lonely to go through this, because spiritual growth always feels lonely. That's my opinion. So thank you, Leo. Thank you for being here. I hope you liked it. I hope it resonated with you, sorry. Right, so now we are moving on to Sagittarius. I'm running out of time. I have someone coming to look at the house shortly. So, Sagittarius, let's have a look. What we got for you? Okay, this one. And then that one together, I think. So we started your cards. Shield Yourself is the second card in, but it shouted out to me a little bit when I looked at it. So as I'm shuffling, I will talk to you about that. Shield Yourself is basically not allowing the external energy to affect you in your decisions in your life. I do feel like you may be needing to ensure that that's happening for you. I get this sense of maybe there is even one person that is influencing you in a negative way. Might not be intentional. They might not even realize they're doing it, or you might not realize that that's happening. But you need to realize that that's not your energy. And to shield yourself from that, or acknowledge. I wouldn't say acknowledge that that's happening, if anything. Because I feel as though it's not intentional to you, and it's not for you to take on, but it's just like it might be something that enters your awareness maybe. Keep your eyes on the intended target is the first card. That's paired with this. So keep your eyes on the intended target. It's like, keep your eyes on the goal. What is your goal right now? What is it that you want? What have you been working towards, Sagittarius? This is saying shield yourself. I just realized I didn't get the time. I'm going to put 43 because I'm not sure. Keep your eyes on the prize. Basically, that's your goal. So when this is shield yourself next to it, it's like stop allowing other things to distract you. Don't allow any influence of other people's opinions or how they're acting stop you from keeping your eye on the target. I feel like it's like it can sidetrack you from where you're going if you allow it in. So it's kind of like having tunnel vision and having blinders on, right? You know, horses, they have the blinders on, especially like guard horses, so that their focus is ahead of them and not on anything that might distract them, like cars driving past and things like that, right? This is what I feel like for you. You need those blinders on to not allow little things which, again, don't even align with who you are, what you're going through right now. For potentially, say I'm going to say moving house because that's something I'm doing. You're moving house and then someone over here says something about somebody else and now that's annoyed you and your focus is on that instead of on moving house, right? It's little things like that is what I feel here with that shield yourself, is that negative energy might distract you from your true purpose on what you're doing during this time. So keep that in mind. You're on the right path. This is a card which is of confirmation of keep going the way you're going. The fact that you have keep your eye on the intended target, you're on the right path. It's saying keep going, you're doing the right things. Believe and trust. I feel like your reading is going to be a fast one because this is generally pretty straightforward. Believe and trust. It's believe and trust and have faith that you can have everything that you're visualizing. And actually this card is to generally visualize as well all that you want. And it's a card of manifestation. Believe that you can have it. Believe you've got it. Trust that you have it. Trust that you're gonna have it. I don't know. Trust and believe. It's about trusting in yourself more than anything, that you are capable, that you can have it. And it is a card of trust in your intuition as well. It often comes up with that card, but that is not here for you. But it's kind of as well a card of favorable outcome, the best results. But it is a process card of saying believe you can have that because that's where you're heading. Next, we have reversed sense of humor, which to me is directly underneath the shield yourself, and it is very much like that, but it's paired with focus upon divine and perfect health. So again, I will say it again what I just said, focus on you and what you need to do and don't allow the stuff of others to be taking away your attention. Now this sense of humor card is about having a different perspective and understanding that everybody is coming from a place of love. So that is definitely something to be mindful of, that sometimes if we are getting distracted by somebody's negative behavior, it's often because we don't understand why they are saying or doing what they are saying, right? This is saying that look at it from a different perspective, that they are coming from a place of love, and sometimes actually look at it from a place of humor, and understanding that sometimes things that we take so seriously can be quite funny, in terms of how people act and the way that they are putting themselves out into the world. Just like, why are you still being a child? Like, you're 43, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's humor to somebody else's behavior. So you can allow it to bring you down and put you in a negative space, or you can see it for what it is and realize that that's not your cup of tea. We're not going to drink it because you're focusing on divine and perfect health. So this is saying focus on yourself and the energy that you're carrying and the energy that you want to have. So if you are feeling very influenced by these negativities or by someone else's drama, do the work that you need to do. One, to move away from it, but two, that's just going to help you achieve what you need to or feel better energetically, I would say. Definitely focus on good eating habits, good sleeping habits, good drinking habits, things again that are nurturing the soul with that focus upon divine and perfect health. It's all about doing things that's good for ourselves and our health. This is reversed. Your home is protected by angels. It's basically saying that your core values, your home, your stability, your roots, your family, that's protected during this time. If you are moving, it's basically saying that things are going to go well, to release any stresses in terms of that. I'm not a Sagittarius, but my daughter is. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of that. But yeah, that things are going to go well, or it could be that there is a move in sight, but things in regards to the home, you can release your stresses in terms of that. So if you are having maybe home maintenance as well, saying things are going to be okay, so you can release the stresses. This comes next with have confidence, paired with it's time to leave an unhealthy situation. Have confidence is you're on the right path card, release your stresses, go forward fearlessly, that kind of thing. I do get the sense of it really matching up with the keep your eyes on the intended targets, have confidence there. Be confident on how you're putting yourself out in the world, specifically in regards to goal kicking, and that pairs with this, it's time to leave an unhealthy situation. Now this to me is very much like the devil card. It's time to drop unhealthy habits. It is time to leave toxic people behind you, toxic energy. This is the third kind of prompt with that coming up as well. So I would listen to that, Sagittarius, of dropping anybody again who makes you feel negative or that's giving you negative energy. You just don't need to be surrounded by that, okay? It's not serving your purpose. Just have confidence and move away from it. But again, this can be dropping bad habits. So if you feel like for your divine perfect health, because we have these cards paired together as well with, you've got your protect your energy, keep your eye on the target, sense of humor, divine perfect health. Each time I'm telling you to be wary of other people's energy, you've got something to do. You're going places. You need to focus on this. So be wary of that. There might be distractions, and you're being guided to say, don't allow that to interfere with this. Have confidence, and you do you. I am loving this reading, Sagittarius. It's actually a very good one. Definitely do things which are going to make a healthier version of yourself. I feel as though I want to say kickstart today. This is a card of doing things now as well. It's time, it says. It's like, it's time to do this. So not next week, not next month. I mean, I like to do things on a Monday. So if I go, I'm going to drop sugar, I'll start on a Monday. It's saying don't do that, start today. But I understand if you have to wait till Monday, but it's about, this Monday. Don't change it to the next Monday. Then when Monday comes, you're doing it on that day. I am autistic, so for me, it's like I have little quirks. And for me, Monday, you start things on Mondays. It's your time making this decision. Take your time making this decision. It's your time. Okay, I would listen to that too. But this is saying relax into things. Take time making a decision. I do feel like you are moving towards something, but this is saying don't rush. This card says take your time. Pay attention to your dreams, and this is your life's purpose. This whole reading is saying you're on the right track. This is meant to happen. You're going places. Focus. Pay attention to your dreams is saying that you are being guided by your guardians, your spirit team, to pay attention to your dreams and what this message is there, basically. I have had a lot of dreams come through. I had 5 nightmares the night before last. I also said this on Leo. And actually, if you have Leo in your chart, then this applies to you even more so, because I said the same to them. Basically, there's a lot going on energetically at the moment, and we are getting big messages in our dreams, whether it's from your subconscious, your higher self, or if it's from your spirit team and your angels trying to communicate with you. Pay attention. How are you feeling during those dreams? Because that is a big key to things that might help push you in the right direction as well. Take your time making this decision. Just give me a very relax into things. Do it organically. Anything that seems like it's forced, I feel like maybe it might not be for you. But again, trust your intuition because you are being guided with this. And that's why your feelings will feel it. If it feels like it's a negative, it's being forced and you're trying to force something. Maybe that's not meant for you. But again, take your time making decisions. This is your life purpose, is again, you're on the right path. You're meant to be here. This is what you're supposed to be going through during this time. Absolutely every person alive right now is in that space. Everybody's going through something that they don't want to face or that they have to face or that they need to face during this time. Some people will probably be like, this is an awesome time. I'm thriving. Opportunities are coming at me. Like, that's amazing. But a lot of us are like, what the F is happening? Okay? And it's because we are meant to be changing and shifting. Perhaps we've allowed ourselves to become stagnant. Perhaps we've just, so far life's been a bit more of a struggle because we've got to change the way our energy is. And the struggles create that shift. They make that change. And yeah, it's your life purpose. You are going to get there. All of this is an awesome reading. I hope this makes sense to you and resonates with you, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions. I hope you like that this is a big group reading. Definitely is going to make this a lot quicker for me in my month of moving. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next month.